Boom, here we are. It's a big day today. Let's go for a cruise and talk about it. All right, what is up? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I seriously appreciate you tuning in today. We're back here in my 2006 Nissan 350Z Rev Up, and as you saw from the title of today's video, there was some huge news in the Nissan world today, and I cannot wait to tell you guys. All right, so I've pulled off into this parking lot. I have not watched this video yet, and I saw it on my YouTube homepage today, so I had to leave my house as soon as possible and come and film this video because I wanted to watch it, but I wanted to get my initial reaction with you here. So let's watch this video. It's only 45 seconds long, so I'm assuming we're not gonna get like horsepower or like, you know, specifications, but we're gonna get to see how it looks, I'm assuming. So, okay, are you ready? I'm ready, I'm excited. I've been waiting for this. Okay, I'm gonna put this video that I'm watching on the video you're watching right now in the corner so we can watch it together, and then we'll go over little details and stuff, whatever we notice. So, okay, let's do it. Cheers. That color. Oh. Yo. Nismo on the dash. We got Chris Forsberg ripping the Z. Oh, those flares. Do you see that? That is so Nismo. Whoa, I just had a glimpse of the new 8.6. Did you see that? Did you see the 8.6 there? I didn't say it. I didn't say it. Oh, the seats. Oh, is that a redesigned rear bumper? I'm gonna have to look at a picture. I want to say that was a redesigned rear bumper, or something about it just looked different. Are those red reflectors there on the normal car? I don't know if those are. That red accent, I love how they're keeping the red accent. That is so cool. The red accent is so Nismo, I feel like, at least. So that was pretty insane. Chris Forsberg was absolutely ripping the new Nissan Z NISMO. It's got me thinking, actually. I'm gonna put the GoPro back on my head and we're gonna drive around for a little bit, but I do wanna talk about a few points that I've been thinking about while sitting here. And I was looking at the front bumper and the rear bumper and everything and some of the different design features that they've added. And I wanna talk about those as well. So let's go for a cruise and let's discuss. Before we go, I got my Pacific Punch Monster. I gotta open it before it gets warm, you know. Cheers. All right, let's get these windows down. Probably the best part about driving around is having the windows down, in my opinion. Oh God, look at, there's a spider. I have no idea where that spider came from, but he wanted to go for a cruise too. What a nice day. Like, I got the AC on right now. Oh, this is beautiful. The Nismo was unveiled. Oh man, it's a good day. What is the date? It's June 22nd, and a glorious June 22nd it is. I don't know about you, but I feel like that color they revealed that Nismo in looks so cool. It's like a Nardo gray, but it's a little bit more on the blue side, which is really cool. Let's get these windows up a little bit. So let's start with the presentation of the thing. Like, no words were said, no specifications like we imagined, just strictly drifting and the car itself, which is super cool. Well, and Chris Forsberg, of course. And I couldn't imagine a better person to unveil the Nismo Z besides Chris Forsberg. As you know, he's been drifting the new Z in Formula Drift. Definitely a great option to have him drive the car. But speaking of Chris Forsberg drifting this new Nissan Z NISMO, it really is interesting to me because this entire video is just him burning rubber the entire time. And the Nismo variant of the Z has always been more driver focused. So I partially expected them to be unveiling this car on some mountain twisty roads, you know, or some tight turns, stuff like that, to emphasize the handling and suspension upgrades maybe that they're adding. But instead we have Chris Forsberg absolutely melting the tires off of this thing for the entire 45 seconds of this video. So I can only imagine, alongside from the different cosmetic features that they've added, the horsepower has to be up and the torque has to be up. I mean, I could be wrong, but is it not obvious? Like, the whole video is him just pinned the whole time. And it's like, I'm sure the base model could do this as well. They seem really adamant about towards the power this thing has, especially with this Nismo. So that was just a speculation I made while I was watching the video. It will be cool to see if they adjusted the suspension, which I'm sure they did, but maybe it just wasn't enough to dedicate the Nismo reveal video to it. I'm sure the regular Nissan Z Sport and Performance handle and perform pretty well well already. So I could imagine how sheer power is what they could be going for with this Nismo, but it's just refreshing to see a new Nismo Z out. There's something about it. It's so nostalgic. When the 370Z came out, I was a wee sapling, like 13 years old, and I'd say I was just getting into cars around that time. So to be this age now while the new Nissan Z NISMO is revealed, it's a real treat, I must say. All right, so let's talk about some of these pictures. I rewatched the video and took some screenshots of things that kind of interested me. Kind of following the previous Nismo models, I did notice that the gauge cluster or the dash says Nismo on it, which is cool. If you've ever driven a 350Z or a 370Z Nismo, you know that the RPM gauge is like a gray color to signify that this is the special edition car. Like, this is the Nismo one. And although it seems we might not be getting a different color RPM gauge, just due to it all being digital, I did notice that it still says Nismo. So when you buy the Nismo version, the RPM gauge does say Nismo, and it says Nismo right when you start the car, right in the middle, which is really cool. While we're on the subject of the interior, let's talk about these Recaro seats, because, I mean, come on, like, this has to be the coolest upgrade for this car so far. I want these Recaro seats in my red 350Z. I think they would look so cool. That color would match so well with the paint. Maybe someday. That's definitely a bucket list item, but they look like they have a good amount of side bolstering, which is promising. And one thing I did notice, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, it's kind of freaking me out a little bit, but they did not show any transmission whatsoever. I don't know if you guys remember back to the Nissan Z when they unveiled the normal one, but they were stressing that third pedal and that manual transmission the whole video. And this one, you can literally see Chris Forberg tapping the paddle shifters behind the steering wheel while he's drifting it. So is this their way of showing us that this car can be drifted and treated like this, even though it has the automatic transmission? And is it not coming in a manual option? It's really tough. If this car is higher horsepower, like 450 or 500 horsepower, then it would be pretty obvious that they're just going for sheer speed and a manual transmission. They don't really go hand in hand, unfortunately. I mean, of course you can drive a manual car fast, but if you want to go as fast as you can, you probably need that 9-speed automatic. So we are just gonna have to wait for more information and more videos to come out of this thing before we can like officially say if it's not gonna have a manual or not. But like, imagine this video how it went. They told Chris Forsberg he was gonna be drifting the new Nismo Z. He gets there, it's an automatic, and they tell him like, hey, it's not coming in a manual version, but it's still insanely driftable, and we really want you to showcase its potential. And he's like, okay, no problem. So, and the fact that it still gets down like it does in the video with the automatic transmission, I mean, it's pretty promising. I would say the manual is probably just gonna be more fun in general, but there are people out there that prefer the automatic transmission. There really are. And they probably don't mind traffic as much as we do. So those are my hot takes on the interior. We got the Recaro seats. Oh, and there's a red line on the steering wheel right in the middle now. So that's kind of cool. It's a good little addition. Let's go, right? AC off, you already know. Oh man, jeez. Okay, so we've talked about the interior. Let's talk about the outside of this thing. I have a few interesting things I want to mention. Let's start with the front bumper and the little like piece that sticks out on the front. In my last video, I straight up thought that was going to be like some active aero piece that slides in and out of the front bumper. That was a pretty far-fetched guess, but that would have been cool. That would have been cool. And it looks like in this picture right here, it does not move. It looks like it's solid to the front bumper, which is probably a good thing. I could not imagine how much it would cost to replace an active aero front bumper for the Nissan Z NISMO. But another point I was thinking while I was watching this video is the car itself, for being the NISMO variant of the Nissan Z, it's not as crazy styled as I imagined it to be, which it's actually really refreshing, because so many cars nowadays I feel like are styled they all look like spaceships. It's just crazy. I really always thought that the Nissan Z kind of had this classic look to it already, and it's kind of like my GoPro overheated and I pulled over for a second, but let's do a little walk around. But basically what I was saying about the Nissan Z is that I appreciate how the styling is not just absolutely crazy. It kind of reminds me of 350Z, you know? 350Z was it's a pretty subtle vehicle for how crazy just it looks overall. Like, it seriously looks like an egg, the way it wraps around. You got this rounded rear here, and it just doesn't look like anything else on the road. Like, there's nothing out there that's driving around right now that just looks this eggy, you know, this egg shaped. So it just looks super aerodynamic and smooth. It just looks like the air wants to flow right over it. And the new Nissan Z, being not overly styled, I feel like really represents the 350Z well. The Nissan Z did a good job of like bringing everything together without going over the top. So man, this thing is so sweet. Even in the shade, dang man, Dang. Okay, let's go cruise. All right, let's go finish our cruise on this beautiful day. I was just looking at a picture of the stock Z rear bumper versus the Nismo. The Nismo one is quite a bit different. Has a lot more jagged angles. I want to say the black part that comes up on the back of it comes up a little bit higher, and those two reflectors on either side are also new. So they actually did quite a bit to it, which is pretty awesome. Another thing I did read someone say in the comments was that the red line that goes all the way around the base of the car, although is a Nismo like specific thing, they said that the side profile of the vehicle, when the red line runs along the rocker panel, makes the car look too tall. He said it takes away from the illusion of that like upwards line that there is right above the red line. So, and I kind of understand what he was saying. It might just be this color. I'm sure it'll look really good in black, to be honest. Another thing I noticed in this video is it has Nismo wheels. I don't know if they're Nismo Rays like they've always been in the past, but they are branded Nismo, and they look very, very similar to the ones off of the GTR Nismo. So I'm assuming we're also gonna get bigger wheels and brakes. It's hard to tell in this video because they're just being melted the entire time, but it does look like the wheels on this car are a little bit bigger, and the brake calipers are absolutely bigger. So, you know, I could only imagine that you would increase the size of your brake calipers if you increase the horsepower, because, you know, more stopping power, because it's faster. That kind of just makes sense. So still not quite sure. I am still really excited to see what they end up revealing with as far as specifications go. And at the very end of this video, they said coming soon, and I'm assuming like mid-summer, hopefully we'll hear about the specifications, and we'll start to hopefully see these things in dealerships by January of next year. But that's one of the most common comments that I've read about this Nismo, is a lot of people haven't even seen the sport or performance on the roads yet, and they're releasing the Nismo. So people are saying they're either not going to see a Nismo for many years to come, or it's going to have like a $50,000 markup on top of the $65,000 MSRP that it's probably going to have, or something along those lines. Hopefully it's not too expensive. In the end of the day, it's still a pretty acquirable sports car, and the Nismo is definitely just going to be the variant that if you want the die-hard version, like you want the version, you have to get the Nismo one. Like, that's just what it is. But being that the normal sport and performance come with turbos, I'm assuming it's extremely tunable, and you could probably get fairly similar performance results from the performance and sport version that you can the Nismo. So anyways, thank you guys so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I just am so excited that the Nismo is on its way, and it looks super cool. I think that thing in red would look so sweet with that red accent that goes all the way around the base. Hopefully someday we'll have one. That would just be the coolest thing. I think I would have to go with the Nismo if I was gonna buy one. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button if you enjoy videos like this. I seriously post videos like this all the time. And hit the thumbs up button down below if you want to see more information on the Nismo Z in the future. I would love to make another update video as soon as they release all the specifications, like the weight, the horsepower, the torque, all of that stuff. So look out for that video. I seriously appreciate you for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.